What's up? What's up, man? You already know we are back. It's the check-in, y'all. It's the check-in. We will have heat detector joining us in just a
Couldn't
second.
find my glasses.
Looking for his glasses. Doing a quick wardrobe change. There he is. All
What
right.
up? What up? What up?
Man, it's the check-in, y'all. We back.
Check-in, the
We back.
check-in.
We back again, so we could talk about it. Talk about all of it. Anything that's going on. We got a good topic today.
Yeah.
Um, should I just start off with it?
We can start off. First of all, I'm your host, Heat Detector. You already know this guy. He's the other host,
It's
the
your boy
co-host of the
Jizzo.
show.
What up?
Jizzo for Shizzo. Um, well, let's do the disclaimer first. Let's get that disclaimer out the way.
Yeah, we like to do this disclaimer, man, because let y'all know we're not licensed therapists, we're not licensed psychologists. The things that we talk about on this show is to better ourselves and the people around us with topics that affect all of us, including men or women. So you're gonna hear things you don't want to hear.
Facts.
You're gonna hear things about yourself that you don't want to hear, but it's all for the purpose of building up. Don't sue us, and you know what? Get off this channel if you're not rocking
You know what
with
I
it.
say?
Now, what do you say?
If you got cotton candy ears, you dream about bunny rabbits and floating balloons and, I don't know, running, tiptoeing through the tulips and all that. And if you have thin skin, you get offended easily or anything of that nature, man, just get the fuck off this channel. You do not have to watch it. You don't need to flag us. You don't need to. We're not here to hurt anybody. We're not here to offend anybody. But we will hold motherfuckers accountable for shit. And the whole purpose of this show is to help, because we all have our own journey. You have your own journey in being mentally well. I have my own journey. And, we have our opinions about shit because everybody's journey is different. You know what I'm saying? We have our opinions about it, how we dealt with things, how we're dealing with things as they come. So if you're down with that, then we down with you.
For sure.
Anytime you down to be better, we're down with that 100%.
And we're also down with Il For Real, who's our engineer behind the boards. So shout out to him, man. We forgot to mention him, but shout out to you.
Yeah, we out here. Welcome. We appreciate everybody tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we had an interview that just went off on the Shy City Cypher podcast. And our interviewee said something important that sparked an idea in your head.
Right.
I'll let you tell him about it.
Well, what was the question you asked him? If you could change anything about Chicago?
Chicago needs more of this.
And he said mental health.
Mental health.
You know what I'm saying? And that shit like really hit me because it should have hit you too, because
it did.
That's something that we do, and especially every Sunday, And I thought it was really crazy that he said it. Not crazy as in fucked up, but just kind of crazy that he said it. And then we do a mental health show right after that. So it was like really crazy for that. But at the same time, living in Chicago, like literally it was last year, they shut down like 40, I want to say 47, it might be more if you want to Google that real quick. They shut down like 40 something mental health facilities in the city. And guess where they were all located?
South Side.
Impoverished areas. Under what do you call it? Undermanned, not underprivileged. There's a name for it. It's like not underdeveloped, not undermanned, but it's these neighborhoods are not given the same things as other neighborhoods in the city.
How many mental health facilities closed in Chicago? And according to WTTW, more than a decade ago, all 50 members of the Chicago City Council voted to endorse then Mayor Rahm Emanuel's proposal to shutter 6 of the city's 12 mental health clinics to help close a massive budget deficit, triggering protests and national attention. So they shut down.
This was
6
no, but
12.
that was when Rahm Emanuel was we're not talking about him. We're talking about when what's her face, when she just stepped out of office. This happened then, Lightfoot. So they shut down.
Well, this is 10 years ago, so they're talking like 2014.
Yeah, so this was recently.
You think they got up to 50?
No, it was like literally like every damn mental health facility in like the West Side, the South Side, you know what I'm saying, was shut down.
Yeah.
Period. And these are in areas where people really, really, truly need the help and don't always are afforded not just the opportunity, but the facilities or the understanding that the facilities are even there. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Especially and we all kind of maybe not everybody grew up in the hood, maybe not everybody seen these kind of things and seen shit, because back in the day, if somebody was walking around talking to themselves or doing whatever, they were crazy. If you were sad, which we know now is depression, you was just told to cheer your ass up and go outside and play or whatever. You know what I mean? It was a completely different time, and we see it now and we recognize it. At least for the most part, some of us do. We recognize it when we see it that person needs help, and when you take that help away, it could it fucks up everything.
But we talked about funding, man, and we talked about like how much is allocated to the crisis, the immigrant situation going on in our city right now.
We have a
And
crisis right now with mental health in the city.
exactly, and that's why it's kind of like we should have been allocating some funds to that, man. And I'll be the first one to stay. I was on the news. I stood up there with who, and we talked
Yeah,
about the
I
migrant
was there.
situation, and you were there, and we showcased it,
We donated
donated,
clothes.
help, did everything. But when it becomes an issue where like it's affecting other things that we just don't have the revenue for, the budget for, what the fuck is going on? Like, and now everybody's opening their eyes and saying, oh shit, including people like me, like, damn it, we should have been putting money to this and that. But there's no money to mental health, man.
Well,
I mean,
it's not without us getting all political and shit, you know what I mean? But it is politics as usual in Chicago.
what
You know
age
saying?
would we start to affect mental health? Like, what's the earliest age that you think we could start talking to youth about this realistically, bro? Like,
Well, they do it now in schools. They do it now in schools with kids. I'm not sure of the age range, but speaking from someone who was in therapy as a child, I think I can remember maybe about 5 or 6 was thrown into therapy as a child, not by choice, um, but I remember that. So I don't know.
I want to ask Il for real because Il's one of the youngest members of our crew here at UNRAP Studios. And Il, how did 10 years ago? Let's just say 10 years ago when you were in school, was there mental health things for you, or even prior to that? Like,
Nah, I never remember that being a priority, to be honest.
Right.
Looking back, see, like when it came to like the whole school and everything, I think only until like maybe middle school I could, faintly remember they starting to say, "Hey, if you ever need somebody to talk to, we have people in the office that you can talk to," type of stuff. Guidance counselors. Obviously, high school was more of a thing,
Excuse me.
lately, but even then, it was never really pushed until like I want to say like my junior years when I started noticing like, oh yeah, people really talking about, because like I got people that I know that I grew up with, that I went to school with, that suffered through that shit and went as far as taking those steps that we're trying to prevent people to take, and those final solutions to shit, but like, yeah, I think shit, when it comes to implementing it, I feel like as soon as kids even have the ability to comprehend things, they should start like implementing things, not going hardcore and being like trying to give them the fucking medical terms and all this shit, those technical terms, but break it down the way kids can learn shit. Like, if you feel sad, it's okay to speak up and try to get rid of those, not get, but understand those feelings.
Right.
you know what I think it kicked off that I can remember in just history. I mean, it might have been before, but Columbine.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it kicked off there, and
The
there
whole
was even a whole
bullying stuff.
documentary about that. But yeah, Columbine, like that was the first time where everybody was like, the whole country was like, oh wow, they're shooting at schools, and
Yeah.
and maybe that was like the moment where it would have
They've
technically
been shooting
began.
at schools for years, man. It just so happens to be, unfortunately, a white school, and that's just my
Yeah.
opinion. It was a white school, and it became national news. That shit's been in the hood, man. They've been shooting at schools forever. Like, that's not new. I mean, like, from the hood perspective, that's
Media
not new.
wise, that's the
But
first one that we were exposed to.
right, well, there was something before that, but like the term active shooter wasn't even a thing back in
Yeah.
the day. But not taking any away from the trauma that causes, because I could only imagine. You know what I mean? I live with a lot of trauma from violence and shit in my life, so I could empathize, so to speak. With if someone was ever involved in an active shooter situation at a school, it's got to be scary. I know my daughter was it once. They had locked down the school and her high school because one of the kids got it turned out he had threatened somebody, but then came to school. But then they found a fucking gun in his book bag, but apparently he was supposed to have another one on him or something. They shut the school down. My daughter was fucking terrified. I had to zoom. I mean, I'm like driving a million miles an hour to get to her. You know what I'm saying? And that fucked her. That fucked her head up for a long time. You know, about she didn't even want to go to school.
And yeah, and it's the school thing. Like speaking of that, like I won't mention no names, but I know of somebody that in the recent past that said something at a school about and I believe that the kid was joking. He wasn't really grasping the nature of what he was saying, but he said something about like I'll blow this shit up
Mm.
because I hate the homework or something. He didn't even mean like I don't like people. Like I'm tired of the homework. I'll blow it up, and he got arrested and is currently going through some stuff trying to fix all that with those mistakes. So I think we just forgot. Like I think we forgot. Like all the younger people don't know about Columbine. I'm sure if I asked that person, they wouldn't know what Columbine was. Like things happen and we just forget. And I think that's why we got to be consistent with it. But that all costs funding, right? It
Yeah.
all costs funding, and we ain't. That's what we talking about. We building a new Cup stadium. I was just talking with Mo Cyrus off. He asked me what I thought was wrong with Chicago in 30 seconds or less, which is we'll talk about it another day. But I told him straight up, yeah, I think that's what's wrong. I think we got funds and we're just allocating it to the wrong places. We're building a new Sox stadium. We're doing this. We're hosting festivals downtown. We're doing all this shit that we got money for, fixing streets in the Gold Coast and on Michigan Avenue. But drive a couple miles down and then people are living in the projects. Um, at low poverty levels. So I don't know, man. The funds. That's all. Just what it comes to. The funds. We don't have the funds. That's why the people we know, like 1213 Center, Shadow Master, and all of them in the South Side, that shit's all funded by them. I think they might have got a little bit of bread, but that shit was mostly them. Like buy the building, fix it up, make a space, a creative space for Chicago, and that shit sometimes just sits there like no one knows about it, bro.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Like, uh, when you have kids, I'm not really finding out a lot of this shit up until later in life. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's important now, like to teach your kids emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit's key as fuck. You know what I mean? Understanding those difference. You know what I mean? About your feelings and your emotions and how you act on them and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these kids are walking around here with zero emotional intelligence, and so they don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't know why they're doing things. They don't know why they're reacting a certain way. They don't know shit. I mean, shit. At this point, I wish D-Nick was up in the building because so he can elaborate on that. But I think it's important, like, to really like, even if as a parent, if you don't understand emotional awareness, intelligence, then you should probably get some. You know what I'm saying? Because it's important as shit, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I think it's important to teach your kids or make them aware of emotional intelligence, man, because that could save them a lot of grief and help them understand things a bit better. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is like, getting mental help to to even start the process is a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, because first, again, to digress, back in the day, if you were talking to yourself, you were just that crazy guy. You know what I'm saying? If you were if you were sad, you were just sad. You were sad ass motherfucker. Why are you sad? Why are you always sad, man? Go do something. You know what I mean? It was all of those things were brushed under the rug, and they weren't really talked about. You know what I mean? But nowadays, uh, it's so fucking important, but we recognize these things, and we recognize, especially for ourselves, what's happening with ourselves. We're like even if we're in a relationship, and understanding how that relationship is working or how we're working within that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, so mental health works in so many different, it's not just like, oh, for those of you out there that may not understand what I'm saying, it's not just like, oh, I'm not fucking crazy. It has nothing to do with you being crazy or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Remember the line back in the day, they used to take care of us. Look at them now. They even fucking scared of us.
Right.
Calling the city for help because they can't maintain. Damn shit done changed. That's from Biggie, Ready to Die.
Yeah.
And I think it relates to that. Like, yeah, man, like they used to take care of us, and then now people just, I've heard it a bunch of times. Fuck him, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a bad seed. Let him go. He'll figure it out.
Well, the problem with that is he'll figure it out type shit, because he'll never figure it the fuck out because he doesn't have the necessary tools. No one's even explained to him the tools. No one's helped him to understand what tools he even needs. You know what I'm saying? You can't build a house without fucking nails and a hammer and wood. You know what I'm saying? So if a motherfucker has no idea how to build a fucking house, what is he gonna do? He's gonna just stand there and look stupid. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But once you become, I think that, well, that's the other thing. I think it's important to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how we are in our communication as friends and shit. And I don't hold any punches with you when it comes to things. You know, not because I'm trying to be a dickhead to you or anything like that. It's because I'm aware of how I feel about shit, and I'm aware of our relationship, and I'm comfortable with telling you things, and I don't tell you things to hurt your feelings or to fuck with you. I tell you things because that's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And I respect those things coming back from you as well. And with that, even is us understanding and learning as we've been doing this and using tools and understanding what tools need to be used in certain things, and fostering relationships with people, you know, outside of our relationship. You know, if it's a girlfriend, significant other, or whatever, learning how to deal with those things that may come up in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And how you behave and how you move forward or remove yourself from that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, our sanity is important, man. It's one of our highest commodities. It's just like one of our most valued things outside of our time. Is you can't put a price on it. You know what I'm saying? Can't put a price on my fucking sanity, and you can't put a price on my time. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going to be allowing myself to spend my time with someone, or, you know, my sanity, I'm not going to sacrifice my sanity. You know what I'm saying? And even that takes a long time to even get to that point, especially if you don't have the tools. I grew up, you know, a whole fucking long ass time without even understanding that my sanity was being compromised. You know what I'm saying? And that my thought process was being compromised, and I was compromising myself within relationships and shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I wasn't really giving a fuck about myself, and I didn't even know how to give a fuck about myself. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? How do you learn to give? That's a question. How do you learn to give a fuck about yourself? You think it would be the easiest thing in the world. You think it would be something like, oh, you're born, I give a fuck.
No, probably when you hit rock bottom in whatever aspect that is for you, alcohol, drugs, relationships. When you hit rock bottom in some of those things, it's probably when you say to yourself, "Shit, that's what I need to change. I'm rock bottom." And some people just expect some people just accept the negative shit. I've
Hmm.
heard people be like, "No, she's like that because she wants to be."
What? What?
A woman in a relationship, she don't want to. I've heard people say, "Ah, she likes that shit." They like that because they want to be, you know.
I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because there's a similar saying too, like Mexico at least, uno sufre porque quiere, you know.
Le gusta la mala vida.
Yeah, you suffer because you want to,
Right.
You
you
like the
know.
bad
But
life.
that's old school thinking. That is like old school
Yeah, it
shit.
is,
Some
but there's
people
some
still
truth
want to
in
be on
it.
the street. Talk to some homeless people. They'll fucking tell you, I don't. I want to be on the street. I've seen all the interviews on soft white underbelly. People say,
Well,
I'm
they got
here.
obviously they
I
need
want to be
mental help.
here.
You know what I'm saying? That's a clear indication of a motherfucker needing some fucking help. The fact that you're so delusional and in denial about your fucking living circumstance, and obviously you've hit more than rock bottom and everything, and you're happy in that. You know what I'm saying? A pig wallows in shit, but I don't think they wallow in shit because they like. I mean, maybe because they have to. Maybe they
Got
like it.
used
Maybe
to
it's a
it.
necessity. Maybe it's out of necessity. I don't know. But mentally speaking, I I I, I don't believe anybody that's living fucked up and foul in their life, on the streets doing drugs or prostitution or anything like that, is because they don't want to go. I have people in my family that are in the streets, and they love the streets. When I tell you,